This video is all about the repairs that we at Suffolk Millwright have made to Skidby Windmill. So the main reason we took the cap off was because of this tail beam, which supports the windshaft and then therefore the sails. And as you can see, it's had a lot of resin repairs, and with all the water ingress, it has left the interior of the beam quite rotten. So once we removed the cap, we began to remove the tail beam by knocking out the 4 bolts either side through the shears. And we also had to support the windshaft as well, stop that dropping, and boop, there goes the tail beam. And once it was outside, you could really see the impact of the resin and the high water ingress inside the cap. It had left the wood in a really poor condition and really not capable of taking the load of the sails. And what was also really important was that these 2 bolt holes support the tail bearing and then therefore the weight of the sails. And if you look closely, you can see they've already started to pull through the front of the beam. We don't even want to think about what the effects of that would be. So we measured and cut a new piece of oak timber at 13 inches by 13 inches, paying special attention to the tail bearing position and angle. We then managed to squeeze the beam back into position with jacks and ratchet straps, and happily everything lined up perfectly. I also machined these metal parts here to secure the underside of these bolts that go through the tail beam to prevent them moving through the front of the beam like they had done with the previous one. There were also issues with the mill's ability to turn to wind, and the bearings which support this gearing were really worn and were not operating efficiently and making a lot of noise, as you can see by this really shocked final drive pinion bearing. Back at the workshop, Tally made new phosphorons bearings for each gear set, as well as boring out and re-sleeving the final drive bearing in phosphorons as well. Which are reinstalled back inside now with the ability to be greased. There was also water ingress issues around the cap, but predominantly at the front, so I made some repairs, and then the whole cap got a coat of Belzona. Once we replaced one of the fly blades, the whole fly frame got a fresh coat of paint and we were ready for the lift. As the temporary roof is removed, you can see the metal ring at the top of the tower that the cap skids round on, with teeth that final drive pinion meshes with to rotate the cap.
I hope it's the same career. Right.
This needs to go in that, so it gives you a good idea of where centre is.
Keep it coming down, nice and steady. Keep coming down.
With the freshly refurbished fly in place, you can see that that fan, that fly, spins that bevel gear at the top, and that turns that whole down shaft, which is then connected to this bevel gear, which then connects to that compound gear there. And that little pinion then turns this spur wheel, which is then connected to the refurbished final drive pinion. After checking that everything was meshing manually, it was time to let the fly off and see what the wind could do. The cap winded round really well, and we'll leave it for a couple of weeks to make sure there are no issues, but then we can start to think about putting up the sails.
See you've got